We're going to get started here in about 6 minutes or so. It's been a while since I've done a rich morning coffee. And I have comments up for Facebook this morning, so if you're on Facebook and you're watching, good morning. I thought I would come here and do the stream today, or at least do this part of the stream today. Finally got my whiteboard up the other day and got some things that have to be done on it. I'm not going to show you the whiteboard because I can't. Oh, lots of things to talk about today. I want to talk about changing over equipment in the studio today. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'll be watching your comments on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook and you're watching, great. We got about 5 minutes before I get the show started. I got a few things I got to check out around here. Looks like that print is going to work. I came in this morning to a disaster, and I'll talk a little bit about that later on. What else have I got to talk about today? We started a new build. I guess I'll bring that down. So we started a new build. Put that over here. I have too many pens over here this morning. Too many pens. Good morning, all who are watching. Kevin LeBlanc, my good friend, that I haven't seen in I don't know how long. So I'm going to be talking about a new printer I'm building. I'm also going to talk a little bit about Bigfoot and what we're doing there, which is another printer I'm building, which we'll talk about today. If anybody's got any questions, be sure to put them in the chat or in the comments section on Facebook, and I'll be able to see your questions and respond to them. I've got it all set up over here, so let's just quickly switch that camera. So right here I've got Facebook running so I can see if you're watching, who's watching, and if you've got any comments so I can respond to them. And of course, down here is my control for the ATEM television studio, which we're going to talk about a little bit today too. We're going to make some changes on that. Just for this studio, I think. I want to make things a little bit more compact and easier to use in this studio. So we're going to talk about that. And if you've got any suggestions about that, then please let me know. My nose is still a little red. I got sunburned a little bit on the weekend. So if you're wondering, no, I haven't been drinking liquor today so early in the morning, but I am drinking my coffee. My favorite cup of coffee. And good morning to you, Kevin. How is the family? I hope everything's going well. I hope that you're doing a lot of building of props and such and costumes. Things are going good for you, I hope. I will be working on doing lower thirds here. I'm going to show you guys how that works out probably later this week. We're going to add some lower thirds and I'll bring them in and I'll show you how all that works with the ATEM television studio. Just under 2 minutes here. Kevin, you're living the dream. I wish I was living the dream. I'm having a bad hair day, so I'm wearing my Star Wars hat, and I'm wearing one of my Cobra Commander t-shirts. Sweep the leg, it says. I have a ton of geek t-shirts, just a ton of them. I don't even know what camera I'm supposed to be looking at right now. I think it's this one over here. So this is, can I say a new build? Not really, because I'm taking parts from an old machine that I bought, and there are some new parts on this, but Essentially, this is a Prusa, and it's only going to have an 8x8 bed. We'll talk about how this all came together. Good friends of mine, I'll tell you about the friends that cut the frame for me. And I'll explain this choice down here too. These are solid couplers over the spring couplers. I'll explain that to you guys as well. I need to have coffee. 40 seconds. And then we're ready to get started here. Make sure I'm on the transition button. Everything's over there. It's a good 8 feet away from me, so it's really tough to run anything. I got to have an extra mouse on the table. I'm trying to make things easier to use, and I'll explain what I mean by that. I talked a little bit about it in my LIDA challenge yesterday. And if you don't know what LIDA is, it's live every day in August. And there we go. Good morning. Welcome to Rich Morning Coffee with me, Rich, or Richard, whichever you prefer, or Rick if you're an old family friend, old school chum of mine. Today I want to talk about this guy. This is a new printer that I'm going to be putting together. As you can see, I've already started doing the frame. The frame is an acrylic frame. Now, I'm not a huge fan of acrylic. Acrylic tends to get brittle over time, and when it gets brittle, it snaps very, very easily and things can be broken off. What I do like about this particular frame is the fact that it's got these supports in the back, and down below, I don't know how well you can see that, but down below where my finger is, it's got a groove cut into it. So when you're building the Y carriage or the Y frame for this, you can extend one of the rods to come out on either side and lock in, so that your Y carriage is locked into the frame, not just at the 2 front points that you'll find on most Prusa machines, but you'll also have it locked in at the back. So everything will stay nice and square for you. As you can see, I'm using the Prusa STLs, the most current iteration of the Prusa STLs on this machine. We've got 2 stepper motors already installed. We're just I was trying to square things up yesterday on this frame to make sure that things are going to ride evenly. I'll be checking your comments here on Facebook this morning, so if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section, and I will try and answer them to the best of my ability. This one will be an 8-inch by 8-inch or 200 by 200 millimeter heated bed on this particular one, and we'll get about 180 millimeters of build volume, so not quite 8 inches in height. We already have the smooth rods in the unit, and we also have the coiled rods also in the unit. This was just to kind of, like I said, to square things up. And now you'll notice the couplers down here. I can't get real close with the couplers on this camera, but the couplers here are solid couplers. I'm not using spring couplers for a couple of reasons. One, I'm finding that spring couplers with these particular types of lead screws tend to give you more Z wobble in your print or ghosting in your print, and that's due to Z wobble. So I put these couplers on my Wilson, which is out in the showroom, and it seems to have taken care of a lot of that Z banding, because these are now a lot stiffer. Like, there's very little movement. The only movement that I have in here is right here at the top. Good morning, Eric Hawkins. I see you there. The stepper motors are just your standard NEMA 17 stepper motors. They will all go on here. We are going to use the MKS Gen 1.4 board again. I really like that unit. I think with this particular guy, though, we're not going to go with the standard display, which fits into here. The display that I'm going to put on, I think I'm going to put on a touch screen onto this one and use the touchscreen, because I think the touchscreen is going to be easier overall. Now, with the touchscreen on the front, this is the exact same style as the one that we have here in the cabinet. So the only difference is that it's done in green and instead of red. You guys have seen that one before, so I'm not going to go into too much more detail about this. This will just be another in-studio printer, so we can print things here in the studio. What else we got going on? Let's talk about Bigfoot for a second. I'll move this out of the way, and I'll pull up Bigfoot. Here is Bigfoot. Now I'm going to look through. This is a combination of a couple of different printers, a couple of different designs of printers. I'm doing very well, Eric. Thank you. This is, if anybody's into 3D printing, you'll know that this kind of looks like a CR10 by Creality. It is going to be somewhat of that build. However, we're going to use a traditional carriage that goes across. So we're going to use a traditional X carriage that goes across the front. We're using sort of a traditional, a traditional Y carriage as well. So there will be a plate that goes on here, and then the heated bed will go on top. This particular unit is all made out of 2040 and 2020 extrusion. So it's rock solid. Like, you can't, it doesn't move. Like this top gantry, I've only got it screwed on the sides here with this little gusset. I haven't got any screws coming in from the bottom. And this thing is rock solid. The motors will be mounted on the front, just like you saw on the Prusa frame. I will mount the motors on the front. I was thinking about putting them on the back, but I changed my mind on that. Last week I printed the feet, so you can see the feet that are on there. These smooth rods are not tightened down yet, and there's a reason for that, because I still got a lot of work to do on it. They are square to the bed. Good morning, Warren. How are you? I saw your haircut yesterday. It looks really good, Warren. I'm not as smart as most people think I am. But with this one being done, I will be able to print much larger prints. For friends of mine that are into costuming or just want to have a memento, I will be able to print full-size helmets on this particular printer with a bed size of 300 by 300 millimeters and going up to about 400 to 500 millimeters in height. This will pretty much handle anything that I can throw at it. Other than that, that's the two printers. Now, moving on to some changes I want to make in the studio here. Let me put this guy back down on the floor. There we go. Put him back in the corner. Max Hernandez. Hello, Max. I need to get some more artwork from you. I need some for my studio. It's pretty white and blank. So what I'm going to be doing in terms of changing things up, I've been looking at a product called vMix, which is a software broadcast switching it's a broadcast switching software. Very much like I'm using now, only I'm using a combination of software and hardware. I'm using a product called Blackmagic ATEM Television Studio. It's an earlier generation than the new ones that are out, but it still does HD. I can do 1080p just fine. And it works really, really well. The only problem is that I can't do automated things with the ATEM Television Studio. Now, I could keep it and do it in concert with vMix, which is a program I've been looking at over the last couple of weeks. I finally last week downloaded the demo of it. The demo is good for 60 days, so I will be putting the demo into use. You might see that a little bit later on. I finally got around to opening it up on yesterday. I opened it up and had a quick peek at it. Now there's all kinds of things I can do automation wise. I can run the title. You saw the countdown at the beginning of the show. while I was getting things ready. That will allow me to automate that process. So when that reaches 0, it'll fade out or fade to black, and then I can come back and it'll just be me, and then I can run the opener for the show. And everything can be very automated, and I don't have to do a whole lot. I may still keep this, I'm not sure, the ATEM television studio. I'm not sure. If I don't, I will be putting it up for sale. It's a great little unit. You can run 6 inputs into it, and both HDMI and SDI. So you can run computers into it if you want to do Skype calls, that sort of thing. So that's a rack that I may be giving up. I'm still not sure about that. Good morning, Stephen Sutton. Good morning to you. So the ATEM television studio I've had now for a couple of years. I do like it. It is a little finicky. All of your cameras have to be set to the same resolution, which is 1080i, not 1080p, at 59.96, I think that's the right frame rate. Otherwise, you'll get a black screen. So if it's not the same frame rate and I switch cameras, I would get a black screen. So it is tough. I am using 2 Canon cameras right now, but I am not using the same model numbers. One is a very old high definition camcorder, a little pocket style camcorder, and the other is a semi-professional style, which is on a shoulder rig that I can go use when I'm out in the field. But I'm looking at this vMix software, and I really wish I had one of these hooked up. So Daniel's telling me that I can use the ATEM with vMix, but I won't. But you'll not be using vMix to its fullest. Dan, you're right. I will not. Eric, you have a great day. I will not be using vMix to its fullest. My plan is to upgrade the motherboard in the i7 computer that I have now, go to something that's a little more current, upgrade the processor, again sticking in that i7 range. I may go to a 6-core instead of a 4-core, and then bump up the RAM to 16 or 32 and drop in. In that machine now I have an Intensity Pro 4K card. I may leave that one in there and then just add a multi-input, an SDI multi-input card, which would be the Intensity Pro Duo or the Quad. It would be the Quad Pro, which allows you to have 4 camera inputs on one card, which would make setting up my camera shots much easier, because I am going to be adding another camera, maybe 2, to this setup. I want to have an overhead shot that comes down, and I may use, one of the other cameras for that. I'm thinking about taking the shoulder rig that I've got now and moving that into a DSLR rig so that I can get kind of the benefits of both worlds. If I just want to shoot stills, I can go out and shoot stills, but it'll also give me a better depth of field back here. So this will be a little bit more blurred out than what it is now. So that's kind of the idea that I want to go with in here. And then if I get rid of the television studio, because I'm not doing a lot of field work anymore with the television studio, so I may just put it up for sale. Actually, I may just put that whole rack up for sale, and then move into something a little bit more compact later on. Other than that, if anybody's got any suggestions for me on that route, Daniel, I want to talk to you a little bit later about your experiences with vMix. I know that David Foster, who I'm quickly becoming friends with, is using vMix, and I'm really, really intrigued. I have a question though for anybody that is running vMix. Is vMix the new VidBlaster? Because it seems to me that it just kind of rolled into VidBlaster, kind of rolled into vMix as it got better. I could be wrong about that, but if I'm not, please let me know. What else? did I want to talk about? Like I said, I finally got my whiteboard up. I got some things on it that have to be done. I'm starting a brand new show, and that's what last thing I want to talk about before I go today. Starting a brand new show, which will be premiering October 2nd. It will not be a live stream. It will be a pre-recorded show. All about 3D printing. So we're going to talk about 3D printers. We're going to talk about how to buy a 3D printer, what to look for when you're getting your first 3D printer. We're going to talk about add-ons, upgrades, a little bit about how Octoprint works. I have 2 Octoprint setups going right now. One is out in the showroom. One is here in the cabinet. I want to thank my sponsor, Spool 3D. If you're looking for any 3D printing accessories, printers, filaments, check out spool3d.ca, and I will get a lower third made for that, so that can come up. So Daniel's correcting me. He says, no, vMix came from personal project of a church tech guy that wanted things done easier. Okay, so VidBlaster is still around, but vMix is the better software from what I'm getting. So where was I on that front? I now kind of forgot. Oh, the new show. So the new show is called The First Layer. Yesterday I finished the intro for it. I have to add a little bit of music to it, but I finished the intro. I still have to finish doing the lower thirds. Then I got to start doing some B-roll out in the showroom. And then we'll be launching the website, which will be thefirstlayer.com. Again on that same day, which will be October 2nd, which is the first Monday in October. We have a long weekend this weekend here in Canada. September long weekend, so I will not be here doing a Rich Morning Coffee on Monday. I will be at home taking care of stuff that I have to do there. What else do I have to get done? I have to do a couple of Spool 3D spots. I will be doing a Patreon for the show. I'll be setting up a Patreon account for the show. So anybody that wants to be a part of that, please just go ahead, and I'll have all the links available for that as well. What else is I got to do? I got to write some blog stuff. I got to complete the website, edit footage, do footage, or get B-roll, do rough cuts. So I pretty much have a full week this week. Tonight, I am going to see Huey Lewis in the News. It is my anniversary today with my lovely wife, Geraldine. So we are going to go see Huey Lewis for our anniversary tonight. And I'm really looking forward to that. But it is getting on now. We've been online, I guess for a while. So I'm going to stop the stream here this morning, and we'll call it a day, and I will be doing my LIDA challenge, or Live Every Day in August challenge, a little bit later on this morning. And if you have any questions, or thank you very much, Daniel. If you have any questions for me regarding the software hardware that I use here now, or any suggestions about what you think I should look at as I move forward and change out some of the gear that I've got, please leave them in the comments below. I go back and check the comments all the time. And we'll go from there. So until tomorrow, you guys have yourselves a great day. Bye now.